Hi, I'm Teresa, Mina's roommate from sophomore and junior year, and I originally wrote this to share with everyone in person on the Saturday in March in Rochester, which none of us could go to. So it's an honor to be able to share it with you now, virtually. It's called Pumpkin Pie, and it's reflecting on a visit from January of 1989. I have Mina to thank for some of the greatest adventures of my young adult life. And it's true, one of them was driving with her on, I think, her first independent outing with a newly minted driver's license. It was winter break of our junior year, so early 1989, and I went to Scarsdale for a few days' visit. Mina's mom knew that I adored dumplings, and the three of us prepared dozens of them in the Chung kitchen that January afternoon. I'm pretty certain I ate half of them. That's not to say that I helped prepare half or even a quarter. I had trouble putting in enough, but not too much filling, and then carefully crimping the dumpling together in a way that it remained whole during cooking. Both Mina and her mom were quite patient with me, overlooked the exploded ones, and let me eat more than my share. Her dad let us take the family sedan, something very 80s and boxy, not too big, definitely not compact, out to the movie theater one night. Mina drove beautifully, with one foot carefully riding the brake at all times. We arrived without a scratch, and then faced the challenge that driver's ed teachers seldom warn us about: perpendicular parking. The dimensions looked fine. Each car with sufficient space for driver and passenger to emerge without contortions. But getting into that space requires an act of faith. You overshoot the entry and then overcorrect to position the car in the middle. It takes practice. Everyone messes up at first. Someone could have told us it was okay to do a 14-point perpendicular parking job the first few times out. I lost count, but it was probably pretty close to double digits as Mina worked that spot. Finally, she looked out her window, shut off the car, turned to me and said, "That's good enough." And we both clambered out my door, checked the car that was a wafer's width away from the driver's side, and went into the theater. When we returned, thankfully, the other car was gone. That night, we had watched Dustin Hoffman and Tom Cruise in the movie Rain Man, and their cross-country adventure inspired me to transform a maybe someday dream into a plan and a very real trip that following summer. I always credit Mina with the inspiration that led me to 6 remarkable weeks with my good friend Jeff, on the road, in the campgrounds, through mountain afternoon thunderstorms, and into mammoth caves. We got to bear witness to extraordinary places and to beautiful, ordinary people. But it is one particular afternoon of that winter visit that has been most present in my memory. Mina declared that she wanted to make a pumpkin pie from scratch. For the first time. It was a visit of firsts, I guess. As a scant fan of cooking myself, I was underenthused, but said I would keep her company and eat the pie, of course. She began. She scooped a smallish pie pumpkin by hand, hard, raw, and slimy, as we all recall from our Halloween carving days. She cooked the pumpkin innards, spiced and pureed, interspersed with mixing flour and butter and rolling and pressing the crust. Her face glowed with that concentrated joy and sheer delight of surrendering fully to the moment at hand. This is how she always looked at the piano, when those remarkably slender and inconceivably strong fingers drew something I cannot call merely sound nor music, but perhaps magic or love or wonder from the keys. I was mesmerized at that kitchen table. How could such excessive domestic labor look so graceful and whole and, well, fun? The afternoon felt suspended in time, even as the early dusk settled and we smelled the baking pie. It emerged from the oven perfect, browned, slightly split with doneness through the custard middle. Holding it in her pot-holdered hands, Mina looked at me and grinned. "I'm going to make another one," she said. And she did, the whole process over again, with, if anything, even greater joy.